Rothschild, the name Rothschild means red shield. And the red shield became the Red Cross, the American Red Cross.
Mm-hmm. I seen it.
And so they own the entire medical system and the banking system, which is where all the money comes from. I said, what do I do about it? And he said, you can't do anything about it. You just have to understand it, communicate, and live the game of life. I believe that religion is a way to divide and conquer the masses. I have read the Old Testament. I've read the New Testament, which is the Christian Bible. I've read the Quran, which is Islam. I've read all the different major religions and all of their books and everything, and I believe that they're all saying one and the same, which is that we are all one. We are all come from source of God, of higher power, and that it's important for us to love each other.
Today we have Josh and Jared, two full-time entrepreneurs, business owners in the industry of life insurance, aka infinite banking, where they will make sure to protect your liquid cash and create systems for generational wealth. Hey guys, welcome back to Body Talks, where we talk to business owners and entrepreneurs. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, brother. So if we could start with a little introduction about yourself and who you are and what do you do?
Absolutely. My name is Josh Waxman. I run a financial firm in Brickell, and I am a man of consciousness and success and focus on being my best one day at a time.
What about yourself?
My name is Jared Aversano. I come from a family of real estate agents and investors. I left the real estate industry and I'm getting into the financial services industry. I've joined Josh in his firm.
Could you tell me how did you guys started into this industry, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I got started in this industry because I was in the restaurant business growing up my whole life. Used to own some Philly cheesesteak spots. Then I transitioned into the lending industry. And then in the lending industry, I made my first six figures and multiple six figures, but I didn't want to be in that industry. I got introduced to a few people that are key seven-figure income earners in the insurance business through my coach, Jeffrey Combs, and I've been coaching with him for 10 years. And through him, I got connected to some great people and then transitioned into the insurance business.
Would you like to tell us how did you get introduced to Josh and his industry?
So after selling real estate, I bought a little bit of real estate and I sold it and I had some money left over. And then I contacted Josh because I saw one of his advertisements with questions on what I should do with my money. And then after learning about how his business directly correlates with the real estate business, I got involved.
And then you got involved yourself or you got involved to get clients?
I got involved myself. I got licensed for insurance, and now my day-to-day, I sell insurance.
And how you like it?
I'm loving it. It directly correlates with everything I've done my entire life in real estate.
Do you feel that you are also providing value to your clients?
Yes. It's more of a relationship-based business, less of a transactional-based. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And it's that because you teach them about the financial system, how it actually works and how can they benefit from it?
Yes. So a lot of the things we do are very underutilized and very unique, and not a lot of people know about what we do. It's not taught in school. It's not taught in traditional education. So I do feel like I'm providing a lot of value, and a lot of the people that I talk to about what we do, they're very appreciative.
Love that. So are you implementing this with your clients in real estate, right?
Yes. And also my family and myself.
So you get to teach everybody about the financial systems and kind of giving them, I call them codes because I'm writing a book and I believe we're playing a game. And it's just these codes that nobody's telling you. The system is designed to keep you as a slave. And people don't get it until they start investing on their mind, onto this wisdom that they need to have. Because yes, we were born and we didn't choose our name. We didn't choose go to that school, go to this school, or parents. So the way that they raised us, we've been creating these patterns, right? And it's just at some point you need to take over your life, and it's I need to learn about what is the game about. Because if you don't know how play the game, then how are you gonna win, right? And I love that industry because you get to experience, all type of clientele, how they're going into their journey, and how you can guide them through the system and help them out and get out of it. Would you have any questions for me for the real estate that I do or something? I know that you're.
Yeah, I mean, I see photos of luxury properties everywhere around here. So tell me about the photos. Tell me about luxury.
Sure. So luxury is a brokerage and short-term rental company where we basically get the investors to buy these properties and we manage them for them. So it's kind of like Airbnb, but more like in a private side. We have our own website, our own client, and yeah, it's quite simple. I'm more in the sales side. I don't really like to deal with the management. It's just too much of a headache. But on the sales side, I'm building this. I could say this experience with real estate in sales, also wealth management, trying to help people structure their whole foundation in here, because I have a lot of foreign clients, and what I do is a simple short entity where they can get their assets protected, like they have some privacy if they got into a lawsuit or anything like that. And then we try to get them like properties like this that they cash flow, because Airbnb here is just like booming. So that's what I do with my clients. Also, I'm fortunate enough, I have my father-in-law. He's my mentor, and he has his own fund, real estate fund. He used to be a developer for so long. Now in his fund, he has different developments and it's just a different level. And with him, I've been able to read how the game is being played. There's so many levels, and I feel like, wow, I just gotta keep learning every single day. And that's what I was asking Josh, how much you spend on yourself, because now that I'm so young, I'm 22 years old, all I think about is how can I grow today. If I have the money, if I close a deal, I'm literally looking to grow. It could be even in a partnership. I invest on people, because at the end of the day, once you start growing that foundation of a family, everybody is gonna know you, and you're gonna be the go-to. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm standing.
The foundation. We show people a diagram of a house. You want to explain
Yes, please.
levels? Like what we do as part of the house?
Absolutely. I think even more of the foundation than financially is the mindset aspect that you're talking about. What Jared's talking about is the financial house, with the foundation being life insurance, disability insurance, different insurances, protection of your finances. Then the middle of the house is the structure. That's the growth, the stocks, the bonds, the crypto, the Forex, the cash, the real estate, the stuff that helps you grow your money. And then the roof is the wealth management side of things, the charitable giving strategies, the business succession planning, the wills, the trusts. And we mostly handle the roof and the foundation, and we connect to them with other people that can do the structure. But I like helping people protect their money, because what happens often in our society throughout history is that we go through these busts and these booms of the economic cycle. And for most financial advisors that make their money based on fees, they don't lose that much money when there's a crash in the economy as an advisor to people that lose a lot of money, because they're getting a 1% or 2% fee. So for every $100 that somebody loses, they only lose $1 in their pocket. So we make our money based on an upfront one-time fee from the insurance carrier rather than fees ongoing from the client. And so for us, the foundation is super important, because I like to be able to say, I'll never lose any of my clients' money. That's why I got into the life insurance business, because there's so many people that are focused on short-term gratification with instant gratification and all of these things that we see on social media, by being able to see these sexy, fun, exciting ways to build wealth. Yet the reality is they're talking about building wealth, but they really mean getting rich. And most people that focus on getting rich become poor very quickly. But even underneath of the whole financial house is the mental house, and the mental house of coaching, investing, mentorship, and taking courses is the most important aspect of all of it, because that's what will have you be in higher ground and higher consciousness than other people around you, so that when those situations pop up for you to be able to have high satisfaction with instant gratification, you'll be able to discern the truth in those situations so that you can put yourself in the best place possible for you long term. And I think it's important that while I think it's important to recognize, while it is important to build money today, what's more important is to build wealth long term and for generations to come, and to be able to do so right here, right now, and start that process.
So your business is focused in the future generations. It's not, as you said, like, yes, you could be rich, but why be rich when you can literally like be wealthy for a whole generation? Like, why not?
Yeah. I mean,
And
as long as you build the foundation, as long as you can pay your bills and live a good life to invest in more in yourself, you don't need all this excess cash.
yes, do you want to say something?
After listening to him speak, you understand why I joined him?
Yes, of course.
Great speaker, very, very motivational, one of the smartest young men that I know.
I see. Well, I would say that you always need a mentor. You always need somebody to look up to, and somebody that you can relate your journey to, and somebody that you can teach. So if you do all those three, you're like growing so much, because you also learn from the people that you teach to. You know, it's not always about who you're looking up to, but also who you're for me, that's also wealth. That's also generational wealth, like teaching the ones below. Because if they don't have this wisdom, they're going to keep taking and they wrong decisions. So for me, that's key. And in your team is the way to grow. I love that.
Absolutely. I was just at a men's retreat last weekend, and we were talking about these buckets where who is pouring into you, and where are you getting your mentorship and guidance from? Who are you pouring into?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you teaching and developing? And then who are they pouring into? All right, so you want to teach. You want to learn so you can teach others, and you can teach others to teach others, so that you continue developing knowledge and consciousness over time.
Would you say that that's two different skills? Being a leader and teaching somebody how to lead?
Absolutely. One leads to the other, though. You can, as you evolve in leadership, it comes down to teaching other leaders how to lead too. In the beginning, you need to lead yourself. The first person to lead is you. And then you can lead somebody else. And then you can lead multiple other people. And then you can teach those people how to teach other people.
That's awesome. I have spent a lot of time in learning leadership, because I mean, as I said, like building that foundation and being a leader around others, you need to like lead yourself, as you said. It's the only way the people is gonna look up to you, and it's gonna be like, I just wanna be like him. And 100% agree. Would you tell us your story before you started all this? Before you figure it out, the system, how you figure it out, how the financial system and everything is working? Did you have, like, your father told you that? Did your mentor told you that? How do you figure it out? What's your story?
Absolutely. Just specifically in terms of finances?
Yeah. I mean, how you figure out the financial system?
Yes. By studying. I mean, my dad owns some Philly cheesesteak restaurants in Philadelphia, and he is good at running a business. And he taught me Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and gave me that book. He's also somebody that has known how to create income, but doesn't necessarily know what to do with it. And I grew up in a cash flowing system where I learned how to create cash flow. And a lot of people know how to make money, but they don't know how to keep it. My dad's one of those people. And so the next level for that was to understand, how do I keep money, and not keep money for saving and not keep money for hoarding, but keep money to build wealth on and invest in. And that's something that I didn't get when I was a child. And so I went and sought other mentors and coaches, and that's where I found Jeffrey Combs when I was learning my own way and path. I've always been into understanding how the economy works and how the system works. And my coach, Jeffrey, taught me a lot about going down the rabbit hole, as some people call it, or learning more about the banking system and the agenda, and understanding do I have your permission to go down the rabbit hole?
Of course, 100%. My book is all about it.
Cool. Yeah, understanding where the royal families come from, tracing back to the 9 men, the Knights Templar that created the Club of 300 and the Club of Rome, and where the Illuminati comes out of, and understanding how the banking system was evolved with the Rothschilds and the royal families back in the day in the late 1600s when the Bank of England was created.
Are you talking about the Rockefellers?
The Rockefellers were 1900 or late 1800s, but before the Rockefellers was the Rothschilds. And the Rothschilds, really the Rothschild, the name Rothschild means red shield. And the red shield became the Red Cross, the American Red Cross.
I seen it.
And so they own the entire medical system and the banking system, which is where all the money comes from. And so in 1694, the Bank of England was created. And ever since then, they've funded both sides of every war. And so war is the most profitable business. I'm a non-believer in war. I believe in love and peace. I'm a pacifist. I believe that. And some people think war is necessary. I don't agree with that. I think that we can love each other. But understanding the banking system and the Bank of England, the Bank of Scotland, the New Amsterdam Stock Exchange that was created in the late 1600s, and then how the taxing system that happened in the 1600s and the 1700s in the colonies that led to the revolution. There's you go down the rabbit hole of understanding what led to the American Revolution and why we wanted to get out of the system from England, and all of it comes down to taxes. And in 1913, the Federal Reserve was created in Jekyll Island at J.P. Morgan's estate. And so that's where the Rockefellers come in the late 1800s with John D. Rockefeller. I learned a new fact last week. John D. Rockefeller owned Standard Oil. And Sony, S-O-N-Y.
The technology company?
Yep, technology company. Sony actually stands for Standard Oil of New York. So
Were you in there at 10K, or how do you figure it out?
I was talking to this guy that I called this guy from a list of business owners that I have, and he created this water filtration system for under your sink. And we started talking about the water supply and then the system and how they put fluoride in our water. And then we talked about the Rockefellers and the medical community, and he brought up Sony is the Standard Oil of New York. And if you look back what Sony is, the major investor of Sony in 1920s were the Rockefeller family, where they wanted to get into technology after they created the money in Standard Oil. And so SONY stands for Standard Oil of New York. And
crazy.
The Rockefellers also funded IFB Farben, which was the gas company in Nazi Germany that funded all the helicopters and planes for the Nazis. And all of it comes back to money and the banking system and controlling the money supply. And in 1913, you have 2 members of the Rockefellers that met, 2 members of J.P. Morgan's company at the time, and you have Paul Warburg, who was the Rothschilds' frontman in America, and then lastly was the Republican Nelson Aldrich. He was the Republican senator at the time. Nelson Aldrich and John D. Rockefeller set their kids up. John D. Rockefeller Jr. married Nelson Aldrich's daughter and created the royal bloodline through the banking system. And all of this comes back to being able to control money, because this all comes from the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, and going deep down other rabbit holes and stuff. But when you understand where money comes from and what they're trying to do in controlling the population, Rockefellers also started Planned Parenthood. They also started the World Health Organization. They also started a major medical pharmaceutical companies that control everything in the world today. And so I was coaching with my coach, Jeffrey Combs, today, and I said, what do I do about it? And he said, you can't do anything about it. You just have to understand it and be able to use your understanding as a way to be able to communicate and live the game of life. And that's where I guess
You really went down all the way.
Yeah.
People won't even like value, or they wouldn't even understand what you just told them. Like literally just told them everything in their face. But
I love it. I love it. That's why I love working with him so much.
what I'm vibrating on today.
I say, well,
I noticed you had that going through your head all day.
I have
Today, but I've been in a high state of consciousness since this morning.
Okay.
I have two things to say about that. And one is I even try myself. I try to like getting out of it by becoming a foreign national, revoking all powers attorney that they have under you, and like I went all over, like, right? And it's not worth it. It's just like go with the wave and understand the system so you can go with it, but don't go against it. They will yes.
Set it up too. They set it up
Yes.
too easily, and if you go speak out against it, they're gonna suicide you.
Mm.
So it's
Yes.
important to understand the system and learn how to play the game.
Mhm.
You have to play on the chessboard, and in order to get off the chessboard, and in order to get off the chessboard, you need to do so much that I don't know how to do at this moment, which is you need to learn how to farm on your own. You need to learn weapons. You need to learn survival skills and
Everything.
operate a compound. And I don't know how to. I grew up in suburban Philadelphia. Like I don't know how to do half of those things.
Listen, I'm not from Venezuela, me either. But I'm still trying to figure out a bunch of stuff, and like I think that's just living. We need to keep figuring out and get better at living, you know, because the way that they taught us, it wasn't the right way.
I mean, we're all in our 20s, so we're in a state of learning, and we'll always be. Even when we're 70, we'll be in a state of learning.
Yes.
When we're young in our lives and young in our education, and we might be talking about things that people that are 50, 60, 70 don't know about. It just shows that we've learned a lot. There's way more to learn, and all we can do is get better one day at a time.
Well, like Warren Buffett's, even like he's super old, he still keeps learning and reading, and we lead by example. Like if this guy is one of the smartest guy by investing and all that, like you need to look up to them and copy their habits. So I have a question. What do you think about Jewish? Do you think, how do they play a role in the game of this rabbit hole?
That's a great question. So I grew up Jewish. I wear a Jewish
Okay. Okay.
necklace, but I'm in a spiritual, heightened, conscious state where I believe in all of it. I believe that religion is a way to divide and conquer the masses. I have read the Old Testament, which is the Jewish Bible. I've read the New Testament, which is the Christian Bible. I've read the Quran, which is Islam. I've read the Bhagavad Gita, which is Hindu. I've read the different Vedas. I've read all the different major religions and all of their books and everything, and I believe that they're all saying one and the same, which is that we are all one. We are all come from source of God, of higher power, and that it's important for us to love each other. And there's no major religion in the world that talks about love in a completely 100% unconditional loving way. People that are Jewish think that people that are Christian are crazy. People that are Christian think that people that are Jewish are bad people. People that are Jewish hate people that are Muslims. People that are Muslims blame everything on Jews. People that are Hindu say that the Buddhists are missing a point, and the people that are Buddhists say the Hindus are, and they're really all divide and conquer. People that are Christians say Jesus is the only way, Yet you're telling me that Mahatma Gandhi didn't go to heaven. He wasn't Christian. So, it's important to be able to understand high levels of understanding of life, because I believe in all of them. And I believe that there's love in between the lines. And as far as Jews own all of the major Kabbalah infiltrated systems. So the banking system, the pharmaceutical system, all come back to major families in Judaism. The Rothschilds were Jews. So everything I just talked about with the banking system comes from a group of royal, high-level, wealthy Jewish families that came together to create an international financing cabal. And the word cabal comes from Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is the ancient Jewish mysticism, which was written about in the book, the Zohar. And so when you read these things, you understand gematria. Gematria is the word coding of things in the Bible. If you read, there's a good book that you would like called Healing Codes for the Biological Apocalypse. It was written by Joseph Barber, which was an alias for Joseph Polio, who was killed for understanding knowledge. Just like, you know who Dr. Sebi is? He was a doctor that cured cancer, then they killed him, but he committed suicide. Right? So,
a bunch of people, the same story. Same story. They all suicide.
And so if you read the Bible, if you read this book, you'll understand that all of the different, in Hebrew, where the Bible was originally, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, the New Testament was written in Aramaic Greek, right? But you understand that all of the words is all code. You were talking about your codes, right? And it's all code for different things. It's a map. It's a treasure map. And the Bible is written in a certain way where every letter in Hebrew, every letter is a number. And every number is a letter. Whereas in English, numbers are written out as numbers and words are words. But every letter in Hebrew is also the number. Like Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and Aleph also means one. Bet is two, and it's a second letter, and it means two. So the whole Bible is written in code. And it's code for gematria. Gematria comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalicism and is ancient Jewish mysticism. And so there's a lot of things that we don't learn, and then people will not learn them on purpose so that they can stay in a low level of consciousness, so they can feel comfortable, so they don't have to address these situations because they'll get overwhelmed. When the reality is, it's important to understand these so that you can let go of being overwhelmed and you can live in a high state of vibration, which is called having good vibes, because you want to be highly conscious in the world, especially with what's going on in the world today, where they're trying to take our children, they're taking our education system, they're controlling our medical supply, the food supply, the education system, everything. They have
control,
the complete control over everything, and it's the world that we live in today. So it's important to understand these things.
So I completely agree with you. I completely agree the word religion, and I would say money controls the whole world. And so how do you go about this religion thing? Because I just, like, being completely honest, I just got into it. I'm going to be super honest with you. Like 2 months ago, I watched The Matrix by the first time, and I've been writing my book. Listen, I've been writing my book, and everything in The Matrix is like the same thing. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm living what I'm writing. Like, what the hell? So what I got from the movie a month ago is that everything are patterns. You know, when Neo is watching these numbers and all this, it's just about patterns. And the same day that I watched the movie, I got invited to church. And I had this idea of church by like, oh, they control you and all this, because that's what I've been believing in. And then when I go there, the guy, he's a businessman, and he also is speaking about patterns. And I'm like, okay, I don't believe in like, this is not just like, this is meant to happen, you know, for like, there's gotta be something in here I need to start learning. And it's just like the word of God. Like the word of God, I believe is so powerful. And actually recently I just like had an encounter with him, and it was just like so powerful, you know. Now I start believing on it. It's no more about controlling. It's more about like having fear. There is an energy stronger than yours. And just like by living the best version of yourself, like looking for that best version of yourself, you get to meet him and be like, I'm just like you, but you're not chasing. You're like looking for that best version of yourself every day. And like, what do you believe in, like religion? Like, since you went through all the religions, like, what do you believe in? I know it's energy. I believe
in consciousness.
Okay.
I live in a connection with God. And I believe the moment that truth is put out into the world, just like when you whisper down the lane, you know the game Whisper Down the Lane? If you whisper something to me and I whisper something,
it's going to be something different, yeah.
Something different. And it's true faith. Like, you have Abraham and Moses for Judaism, you have Jesus for Christianity, you have Muhammad for Islam, you have Buddha for Buddhism, and you have Krishna for Hinduism. In their true form, connected to God, they are very highly conscious. But as soon as you put someone else to go create a church for their own financial well-being or for their own power, then it gets tainted. And over time, it gets tainted and tainted and tainted and tainted and tainted. And thousands of years later, then it's very tainted. And so in its true form, if you read the word for the word, then the word of God is truth. But religion of itself today is a means of dividing and controlling the masses. And it creates all of our major wars are fought on disagreements and beliefs about God and land, and who deserves this and who deserves that. But in truth, in high consciousness, none of that even exists. And if you take away all the borders that we created, there is no separation between Canada and the US and Mexico. It's one landmass that some man came and drew a line on and created borders. But in reality, we're all human beings. I believe in the human race. I don't believe in anything different between somebody that's black and white. Beside, your ancestors grew up in Africa and there was more sun in Africa, so your ancestors are darker than mine because we grew up in Europe and there's less sun up there, and thousands of years later that's what happens. And you're from Venezuela and it's closer to the equator, so you're a little tanner than I am. And that's just all it comes down to. I don't believe in this separation. I don't believe in a division of religions, of races, of genders, of anything. We're all human beings. We're one race. Whether you're Chinese or US or Russian, we should all love each other. And we all are doing the same thing, like you're saying. We're all here to just be on the path to enlightenment, to find God, and to be the best that we can be. And if we can learn to do that, then life will be easier and the world will be a better place. But they've created such a system for control over it's really been for the last 1,000 years, that it's really been almost 2,000 years, since the year 300, when Emperor Constantine created the first church of really understanding and controlling people with Christianity. That's really how it started. And it's been like that, an evolution of that ever since. But in the world today, I do my best to live in a high state of consciousness. I'm still a human being, so I still have my own beliefs, and I still sometimes, I'll call it, relapse into judging other people or having pride in myself, but I'm letting go of my ego one day at a time. And that's all that you can do, and forgive yourself more and be the best person you can be and learn to love other people and be in a high state of consciousness. And for me, it was all about curiosity. It's always been a seeking of, what is God? Where does God come from? Where do we come from? Is God this being in space outside of this bubble of the universe? Or is God this energy that's permeating through air? Or is God this dude? Or is God an alien? Or where are we? And who created this? And why are we created? And it's been like that since I was a kid. I wanted to be a rabbi when I was a little kid. But then I chose business and success, and I've always had that underneath. But it's interesting And I like these questions because it makes people think, and people don't like to think. They like to go to work from 9 to 5 and clock in and clock out.
Or even in the car, they're listening to music, and they never want to listen to themselves, and they don't see the power that they have in themselves.
It's super important to spend time with you, live in your higher self, and to be the best that you can be every single day. And we take drugs, and we drink alcohol, and we have sex, and we listen to music, and we take medications, and we eat foods with high sugar, and we do all these things in order for us to get out of our heads. I smoked marijuana for years just to get out of my own head. And the reality is, through meditation, I learned to be cool, calm, and collected. And it's important to learn how to do that.
You know, I experience that almost every morning. When I left my mom's house, I decided I wanted to stay close to the beach so I can ground. And I like the sunlight in the morning because it's like, you get, I don't know, I feel like a different type of energy than when you're just like tanning. You know, the lighting is just different. I don't know.
It is actually at sunrise and sunset. It's infrared light. It's actually a different wavelength of light than in the middle of the day. So it actually is a different type of light that improves your health in a different level. So
Kind of like red light,
it's red light therapy,
but naturally.
when the sun is rising and when the sun is setting. So it's super important to go for a walk. Like, I have a dog now for the first time in my life, and I walk the dog every morning at sunrise. I'm usually at work at the office at sunset, but yes, and that's important.
Our dogs are very good friends.
And you guys take him for walks together?
Yeah. We live in the same building. I moved from Boca to Miami, Brickell, Miami, because Josh suggested it.
Of course, you gotta be close to,
Yeah, close to work, walking distance from work.
Because time is running, and you need to spend your times wisely, like every single minute. Like, for example, like what I was saying in the morning, I wake up, I go to the beach, sunrise, and I just have this moment to appreciate that, like, I have another opportunity today. I literally, like, I have another opportunity. I have 24 hours. Like, how I'm going to spend it? I got to take the most out of the day, you know? And it's just that, like, time is running pass by, and you need to, like, have everything closed so you can be productive and do, like, what fulfills you. 100%.
I agree. Time is the most valuable asset.
Yes, more than anything.
So, besides the rentals, you do a few other things, don't you?
Yes. So, yeah, I could tell you my story. So I came from Venezuela a few years back, 7 years. I've been here in Miami. I haven't, like, really moved anywhere else. And it's been a quite interesting journey because I went to school. I saw how the system was, and I used to just skip the school and go to work because I didn't like it. I didn't learn anything. I didn't even understand the language. So in work, I learned English. I was a bosser, and then I ended up being a server. That's how I ended up talking to people and, you know, creating relationships. So then from there, I started investing in education and, you know, self-development, all that. I actually got into life insurance. I got my license. And that's how I started my first book, Rich Dad and Poor Dad. And since then, it's just my mindset been switching and taking a shape of improvement every time. And like you said, the ego, I drop my ego every single time. It doesn't matter if I'm speaking to a kid, to a younger adult, a leader, whoever, because we are, as you said, we are all one. And I believe we all have the power. We all have power in the mind. And there's just some people that they don't know it. And that's why they act the way they act. But it doesn't mean that I have to, you know, like make them feel like they're minority or something. That's the other thing. While I learned into the financial systems, the minority, the private and the public, like that's what I did. I created a private entity of myself and all this. Like how I did that by investing on myself. I took a mentor, and he taught me how to like get out of the system, how to get a foreign trust and like put your assets over there, because they can't really touch a foreign trust unless it's like fraud or something. So it's just all this stuff that they don't teach you anywhere. And I'm so thankful I had to like go through as a server, like working in. I work as a bagger in Winn-Dixie. Like I did so many things, and every single situation just lead me to the point that I am today. So that's why I have this community, and I try to provide as much value as I can. And I hope people understand the value that we just shared today, because it was awesome. Like you literally told them everything in their face. Like if they don't get it, like I don't know, I don't know what else can we tell them, you know?
What we specifically do, we assist families and people in general in getting out of the standard banking system, escaping, if you will, the matrix, like the financial matrix. That's what we do.
I mean, the whole concept of infinite banking is cool to make money, and most people think about it for building wealth. But for all this knowledge of the banking system and all these things that I knew, there was never a way for me to do anything about it. It was always just this knowledge that I have about the banking system, and it sounds cool to be able to podcast and be able to say these facts about the history of the banking system, but I wasn't ever, there was never anything for me to do about it until I learned about infinite banking concept by Nelson Nash, and I read the book Becoming Your Own Banker, because it's almost as if to have all of these, everyone knows that the banking system is corrupt. Everyone knows that the banks make money and charge interest for people so they can make money. There's no solution out of it. There's no way to get out of it. There's no escaping the matrix. But being able to create your own bank is like a crazy concept, because what are the options? Are you gonna go create the Bank of Waxman on the side of the street and go compete with the Bank of America and then try to get people to come to you? Like, that's never gonna happen. And the only thing that you can do is take it upon yourself. And so in the back of that book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, he has a step-by-step way to abolish the Federal Reserve. But in order for us to be able to do that as a country, and really as the world,
we all will have to be our own bank.
To stop. We'd all have to be our own bank. But no, before we all create our own bank, yeah, that's the way to do it easily. But what would have to happen as a country is we'd have to have a president that is agreeance with abolishing the Federal Reserve, that would work with the Federal Reserve, and have a head of the Federal Reserve that would be open to stopping the money supply, converting all of the paper currency we have, all these worthless pieces of paper that we have, that mean absolutely nothing, that have on the back of it literally a pyramid, the unfinished pyramid of the all-seeing eye that says New World Order in Latin underneath of it, for us to be able to have understanding of how this works, and then pause the printing of money, be able to convert all of the money back to gold, and then be able to stop mining gold for a split second so that we can price the price of gold and convert back to the gold standard, then reissue different currency. It's too much work. And so the whole concept of infinite banking says, forget about trying to convince the government and convince the Federal Reserve to stop doing what they're doing, because they're not going to. And we're not going to have a protest against the banking system. Just become your own bank yourself. And I can't create a bank and then like have you come to my bank. I can just teach you to create your own bank and teach you to create your own bank, so you can take the financing situation into your own hands. But it takes years. And so people in the instant gratification world that we live in, they want to get rich today. And so when you say to a 22-year-old or a 28-year-old, hey, we're going to help you create your own bank, but you're going to see the rewards 20 years from now, and you might not even see it in your lifetime, but it's really to set up your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids for the future. People are like, why would I do that when I can just go do drop shipping on Amazon or faceless YouTube automation channels or da 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 da. There's too much stuff out there that's seducing us, which comes back to them controlling our minds, seducing people to want things now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why I got into it, because to me it was like this is a product, and a product I can sell, life insurance, with a process I can utilize, which is infinite banking, to be able to solve the problem for myself of the banking system is corrupt. Other than that, I don't know any other way to do it. So that's why I got started with it, really. And I sold insurance for a year and a half before I really understood infinite banking. And I talked about infinite banking and was misinformed about infinite banking. And it's really just the concept of being able to be your own bank, so you don't have to go to other people and pay other people for money. You can do yourself and control your own money supply. And that's really what got me intrigued in it. And like you say, and other Jared says, only highly conscious people that understand some of the stuff we were talking about today are going to even have the desire to create their own bank. Because otherwise they're just going to go to work and cash their paycheck and go pay their rent and go pay their bills and go give their money to the government and pay taxes and go on their nice little life and die and have nothing to show for it. And I don't want that to be me, or my kids, or my grandkids, or anyone that comes into contact with me.
So would you give us any wisdom in... I'm a firm believer that you need to invest a lot in your business, right?
Yes.
Because that's the cash flow. That at the end of the day, there is not going to be other investment. There is going to cash flow as much as your business. So would you tell somebody to first get a business and focus on the cash flow to get their own banking, or get their own banking while they're, I don't know, in their 9 to 5 or whatever?
You can start becoming your own bank wherever you're at. It'll just be on a smaller scale. If you have a job and you would like to become your own bank and you think that you need thousands of dollars to start doing that, it might expedite the process to have thousands of dollars, but you can start with a couple $100s a month if you need to. It doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start. All right? It would be important to start implementing these things now. It's really important to start implementing these things like yesterday, right? Your dad and my dad both say, if I learned this stuff when I was your age, I would have been super wealthy by now, right? So
I want to talk a little bit about
so understanding that, it's important to start it now. And then, but income is the most important thing. And Grant Cardone talks about this, that most people are focused on investing when they don't have any cash flow. And people flip it upside down. The number one thing to do is to improve your business. And so until you have enough cash flow that you can take a deep breath and say, what should I do with this money? You should not stop collecting cash flow and improving and generating cash flow, because there's no reason to have a conversation. If you're working a 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck, and then you're gambling on sports in the weekend, you're never going to be successful doing that. If you're going to play blackjack or poker at the casino and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're never going to be successful. So you have to focus on increasing your income first, which means investing in your business, improving systems within your business, duplicating people into your business, so you can have a business that runs like Rich Dad Poor Dad, so you're not a slave to your business and you're not an employee of someone else's business, but you're running a system and having people run the system so you can create cash flow. Then you can learn how to invest. But you have to go through those steps, and it doesn't take a minute, and it doesn't take a day, and you can't just do it immediately. It takes years, and it takes time, and it takes patience and dedication and discipline.
People are attached to the car and all that, and they need to have it. And it's like, why do you need to have all that instant gratification for, you're literally working for that? And I went through it. I went through it for a few years, and that's why I'm so grateful that I understood and I didn't got deeper into it, because the deeper you get, it's so hard to get out, into all these debts and stupid decisions, But yeah, you were gonna say something about.
I mean, my father. So he's been selling real estate his entire life, investing in real estate his entire life. And he never knew about what we do with the privatized family banks. So now that he's a little older, he's got metal shoulders, metal knees, metal discs in his spine, so he is actually looking at doing it for my nephew. So his grandson. So he's looking at doing it for the lower generation. But if he would have gotten started when he was my age with it, he would have been, not that he's not insurable, but it would have been more cost effective, and he would have been able to utilize it through his lifetime. So that's what I'm doing.
I love it, man. I love it. And you know what I like? That we are all young and we're like aware of how everything works, and we're trying to provide this information for others, and we're building it for ourselves, for our family. So the future generations are taken care of, and I'm doing my book also not for people, but for my family. Like, I bet they want to read like my book, it's like I'm a family member, so I guess they will understand, and they will go through this information and gather, and like it's just like the word of God. I believe it wasn't like me typing or going these mornings just like a full high frequency and putting this information in the book, but it was like God. It was like this energy like putting out there, and people can read it and learn about it. So I totally love the idea that you guys have.
Why is that important to you?
The providing the information, because when I got here, the information that they were given in school, it was like you gotta follow instructions, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and I never wanted to follow instructions. I just want to be me, and that's what I did, and everything has turned well. Like even my family we're looking like, why are you always trying to go to the opposite side? It's just like how I am. I don't like going through following directions. And through doing that, I figure out how reality is. And like, I want my family to have the freedom of choice, the freedom of choosing whatever they want to do, whatever they want to eat, whatever like information they want to feed themselves. Because the reality is, my whole family, they're trapped in the matrix, how they call it. Like for example, right now, like La Copa America, the football games, like everybody is like talking about it. Yeah, soccer. And listen, I'm not against soccer at all. Like I love soccer, but I like to play it. I don't like to watch it. It's just
To watch other people do things.
it's like, why would I watch somebody like, do you know? No, I don't. Like, I'm not up to it. I'm up to my thing. I'm creating. I don't like consuming. So yeah, exactly. So I want also to give this mindset to my family and whoever reads my book, to shift the mindset of consuming and start creating, because that's the only way to like switch it. You need to replace it. That's the thing. You need to replace it, just like a habit. You don't just get out of smoking. You need to replace that habit with a better habit. And so yeah, that's basically why I'm doing it. Switch the mindset.
How long have you had the mindset of not wanting to listen to people, and when did that start?
Well, that mindset of not listening to people, it has been forever. Since I'm a kid, like I always do what I want. Doesn't matter if my mom is like behind. I'm terrible, I'm telling you. But my mindset have come to a place that now I'm more. I don't follow the norms, like the system norms, but I know there's like spiritual norms. There is like there is some energy that I respect, and I'm still learning how to go through this path, following those real rules, because I believe those rules, those principles, those values are important. Those are the real, like the real values that we should be learning.
Absolutely. And so for somebody that wants to learn more about the values and learn more about what to do with all the information, what should they be doing? What should other young, aspiring, high conscious people do if they want to learn more about what to do in life? What are some of the things that you've done to help you?
Well, be curious. I believe in the game. We need to be students of life. Like, we always learn from everyone. and be curious. That's the way that you can like always learn from anything. You just ask questions and ask the right questions to somebody that you have in front of you. I went to an event the other day for family offices, and I met a guy that he's a billionaire, and I just had a couple of seconds in the elevator with him, and I even got to get his phone number in like 10 seconds, and I was like, it's just the power of your frequency and what you're like, where you put yourself into. So I believe that everybody should create their own ecosystem, just like a spider. They work in their ecosystem so the food can come to them instead of they're chasing like this money or this quick gratification. They're actually building their structure, they're building their foundation, and they can live a fulfilled life. Absolutely. I think this podcast was great, bro. I really enjoy it. It was a great conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, if you'd like more information.
If you yeah, share your socials, share.
Absolutely. If you'd like more information on escaping the matrix, getting back into higher states of consciousness, understanding money specifically, please reach out to me, Josh Waxman, on Instagram at Josh Waxman Success, or you can reach out to me directly. So please connect. You deserve to become your own bank and escape the matrix so that you can live in a state of high freedom and prosperity.
You can share yours.
Thanks for having me on. This was a blast. It was great getting to know you. If anybody would like to connect with me, my Instagram is Jared from LI. I'm Jared from LI.
I love that. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in.